for Monday, October 19th, 2020. This is, my tablet will ever start. What is happening? What is happening? What has happened? What just happened? Okay. My tablet just died on me for some reason. That's a very strange thing. Perhaps it's low on charge. All right. This is the Pro and Con Show without my normal tablet, and I'm your host, Michael James Ott. Welcome to the show. You never know, it's a live production. So here we go. All right, so the point of the show, Pro and Con Show, right? Pro and con, good and bad, for and against. The intent is to encourage us to be more open to looking at these issues. And these issues that face us, the vast majority of them are fairly complex, okay? And that means it's going to take time for us to talk, time for us to make sure that we're seeing these things from different viewpoints, different perspectives. And in fact, today's show is called Perspective. And I am bringing out an old tool that I made a long time ago, and actually I did this one of these shows, I think, with this same replica of a coin here, probably a year and a half ago, and so here it is today. So this is a replica of a dollar coin, and as I said a couple of years ago, I didn't even know these existed at that point in time. I was getting some, trying to use a vending machine, and I, tried to get my change back out of it, and because I think I put dollar bills in, and it actually gave me these dollar coins in return. And I was like, oh wow, we have dollar coins. That's pretty amazing. Getting back to perspective, okay? So I'm sitting here with this coin between us, all right? And you've lived your life where you've lived it, and you've spent your time on this planet and done what you've done and learned what you've learned and experienced what you've experienced. And right now, at this moment, you're sitting here watching this video. And what do you see? Well, you see a likeness of George Washington. But if I would to say, well, I look at the same coin and I see a likeness of the Statue of Liberty, you would say, well, wait a second, Michael, that doesn't look like the Statue of Liberty. That looks like George Washington. And I would say, no, I see the Statue of Liberty. And, and the whole point is it depends on your perspective, okay? And where does your perspective come? It comes from your experiences, your education, your experiences up to this point in your life, and the position that you sit in at that moment when you're observing or looking at something. And whether that's a coin or an issue before our nation, or whatever kind of thing that you might be looking at, it's all a matter of perception, of your point of view. And so I would, if we really, in these days, we would start screaming at each other because the people that run these political parties that basically are dividing us into these tribes, they would push us to say, well, anyone that doesn't see a coin with Washington on it, they're idiots, and they're trying to tell you that they're going to take George Washington away from you and replace it with the Statue of Liberty. And on my side of it, they would say, oh, if you don't see this coin with the Statue of Liberty on it, then they're trying to take the Statue of Liberty away from you, and they're trying to replace it with the likeness of George Washington, and that's a horrible, evil thing. And pretty soon, just like we do with gun violence and gun control and abortion and fiscal responsibility and all these other kinds of things, pretty soon we're standing on opposite sides of the street screaming at each other and throwing rocks back and forth. When the reality is, and the whole point behind the coin, and the whole point behind perspective, is that on the opposite side of the coin, there is the Statue of Liberty. Okay? And not only does the coin have two sides, Washington on one side, Statue of Liberty on the other, but it also has an edge. And what I love about this analogy of the coin is that, just like many issues, you can also look at it pro and con, good and bad, for and against. And then there's other aspects of information that are just not good or bad, for or against, or pro and con. They're just kind of bits of information. And they don't really go on either side of the pro or con argument. They're just kind of additional information that just exists. And the other thing that I really love about the coin is, what's true about this coin? Well, it's a coin. It is it. It is the object here. And so the perspective that you have is how you're viewing this object. You're viewing Washington, I'm viewing the Statue of Liberty, but it's the same exact truth, okay? On the whole, it is the same exact thing. It is a singular object. So whether this is the issue of abortion or gun control or climate change, or any of the other major issues that beset us and prevent us from fully appreciating and coming to a resolution, it's just like this, okay? There is a truth, and that truth is complex. It's just not one-sided. It's multi-sided, okay? And so what you need to do, all of us need to do, is take the time to look at this issue from all sides, appreciate that all sides exist, and then start talking about what we want to do going forward. So once you've identified and come to this understanding that there are multiple sides of an issue, then you also then start saying, okay, now that we have a common understanding of the different perspectives on this, what are things that we can list together that we don't like about the current situation, the current object that we're examining? What are the things that we do like about it? And then we can then say, okay, now these things that are bad, how do we change them? How do we mitigate them? How do we make them better so that they're lessened or eliminated? And the things that we like best about the object or the issue, how do we expand them? How do we grow them? How do we make them even more than they are now? And so the coin is a great thing. And, you know, regardless of whether you're, a leader of a country and you want to talk to people about, a particular issue and get them to buy in the idea that, these issues are complex and there's for and against and pro and con and good and bad. Or if you're in the family situation or in an argument with a neighbor or a friend, stand back and give yourself the vision that is provided by the coin, okay? Pro and con, good and bad, for and against. These are the things that are important in coming to some kind of understanding and agreement between all of us, between any two people or any group of people or any nation of peoples. Perspective. So remember the analogy of the coin, and at some point, if you are starting to get in some kind of heated argument with someone, or you're starting to get stonewalled into a certain position, either on either side of a particular issue or whatever, get out a coin and start talking about the fact that the truth depends, excuse me, shouldn't have had those potato chips. The truth depends on perspective. And that coin, that truth is true. And those different perspectives are true. And so we all need to accept that these things are true. And then, okay, that adds complexity to the issues, but still with that basis of common understanding, then step by step, it's not always easy, but certainly always possible to step by step come to a place where we all can be working together. All right, so the miracle of the coin. For the Pro and Con Show, my name is Michael James Ott, and until the next show, bye for now.